Wilds of Eldraine Spoilers are coming in thick and fast, and today we'll be looking at a bunch more new cards that are dropping in Wilds of Eldraine. Alright guys, so today we'll be taking a look at some more Wilds of Eldraine Spoilers. So far this set is looking pretty fun. I don't know if it's going to be super strong. We haven't really seen, in my opinion, super power levels, right? Throne of Eldraine was incredibly powerful. Wilds of Eldraine seems a little bit more, brought in a little bit, okay, on the power level. But we're going to look at today some more spoilers. Let's jump into it. Alright, starting things off, we have one of the creature lands. We have the Restless Vinestalk. This is the blue-green one. It does come to play tapped. Taps for both colours. 5 mana. It's a 5/5, right? It's a blue plant creature with trample. So it's a 5/5 with trample. That's key. That has trample. Then, whenever it attacks up to one other target creature, has a base power and toughness of 3/3 to the end turn. So that's pretty good, right? So it's off the bat, 5 mana, 5/5 trample, and it makes another creature a 3/3. Is actually pretty decent. Now, we've already looked at the turtle, the mythic. So that mythic allows us to activate our lands for 1 less. So this is now 4 mana for a 5/5 trample. It then also gives your land creatures +1/+1. So you're paying 4 mana for a 6/6 trample. That is a ton of damage. Like, I thought the green-black one was, you know, a lot of damage, and it's good because it interacts with the graveyard. This is good. So in the past, I'm trying to compare like other ones. We had Celestial Colonnade, which was 5 mana, white-blue rather than blue-green, and that was a 4/4 flying vigilant. That's pretty strong. I feel like this is just raw power. The fact is that you can make another creature 3/3. Let's see, you got a little 1/1 lying around. Boom, it's now 3/3 as well. This is going to see a ton of play. We haven't really seen blue-green decks being played that much, but if we do, this will see a home for sure. Alright, next up we got Mosswood Dread Knight. So 2 mana for a 3/2 body, okay, with trample, alright. Then when it dies, you may cast it from your graveyard as an adventure card, until the end of your next turn. Okay, so it's adventure side, it's 2 mana sorcery, you draw a card and lose 1 life. Wow, this card's actually pretty good. So you get a 2 mana 3/2 trample. I don't know why it's got trample, but you got a 3/2 trample, right? Okay. Then when it dies, you can cast it from your graveyard as an adventure until the end of your next turn. So you get an immediate advantage when it dies. And its advantage is you get to draw a card and lose a life for 2 mana. Like, I don't know about you guys, but that's very, very strong. So you can play this on turn 2 as a good aggressive creature. Then if it dies, you're going to get some immediate advantage. People like, boom, lose a life, draw a card. That's really strong. Green-black hasn't really seen play in a while, although you do have some good green-black cards that you could play, you know, really good mid-range. We've seen blue-black, we've seen mono-black, we've seen red-black, so nice to see some green-black. I love Jund, you know, green or red-black. So if I could build a Jund deck with this guy, I'd be happy. This is actually probably one of the strongest rares that we've seen in this set. Some of the rares have been pretty weak. There haven't really been any massive powerful ones that jumped out at me, but this one so far, I'm excited. Okay, we have the Elusive Otter next. 1 blue for a 1/1 prowess. Creatures with power less than the otter can't block. That's really good. Hang on, so we have a 1 mana 1/1 with prowess, which is very good. This is insane. Wait on, what's the adventure side? So X and green sorcery, distribute X +1/+1 counters among any number of target creatures. Yeah, this is going to see a ton of play. This is really pushed. So already we've got like mono blue tempo, which has seen some play, not to great success, but does see some play. This will go in that deck for sure. You know, you have a ton of counter spells, you have fading hopes and bounce spells, ops, you know, considers, whatever it may be. You have so many cheap spells that you can get this prowess going, and then you can bang. You know, to be fair, I would actually probably play green blue now, like green blue tempo, because you can use the adventure side of this. We could look at the land that we've just looked at as a way to sink that late game mana into. Oh baby, could you imagine you attack with that land? You have this aura in play, you attack with the land. This becomes a 3/3, right? With prowess, can't be blocked by creatures with less power than it. Start getting in that damage. We have a deck on our hands here, guys. This is a strong card. This will definitely see some play. All right, up next we got Gruff's Triplets. What a name. So 6 drop, okay, so it's expensive for a 3/3 with trample. When it is the battlefield, if it isn't a token, create 2 copies of this. Okay, so you get 6 mana for 3 3/3s with trample, and then whenever Gruff Triplets dies, put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to its power on each creature you control named Gruff Triplets. So for 6 mana, you get 3 3/3s with trample, so you get 9 power for 6 mana. Not too bad. But then if one of them dies, one becomes a 6/6, and if another one dies, it gets... Yeah. So let's say I mean, you'd be silly to do it, but let's say you killed one of them, and then one will become a 6/6, and let's say you killed another one, like the other one that's a 3/3, it becomes a 9/9. But if you killed the 6/6, then the 3/3 becomes a 9/9. So okay, I mean, possibly it could see some play. I'm trying to think what good top ends you have in green right now. I mean, Titan of Industry is probably your best bet. Maybe, you know, Voronclex as well. It's going to be interesting to see. I still think this is going to be a strong card. You know, got potential. Maybe you got like a sack outlet. You know, maybe you can sacrifice one of them, buff them. They do have trample, which is relevant. I think you might see some play. Right, next we have Sleep Cursed Fairy. 1 mana 3/3, flying ward 2. When it enters the battlefield, tapped with 3 stun counters on it. Then you can pay 2 mana to untap it. If you untap it, you basically remove a stun counter. Interesting. So let's say you play this on turn 1. It can't come on. I mean, let's say you play this on turn 1. You have no turn 2 play. You then pay 2 mana to remove a stun counter. So turn 1 comes into play. Turn 2, remove a stun counter. Pay 2 mana, remove another stun counter. So that's 2 stun counters. Then turn 3, you remove a stun counter. But it says you remove a stun counter instead of untapping it. So in turn 3, you would have to then, you remove the last stun counter, but then you would have to pay the 2 to then untap it. But it's got ward 2. So nothing's killing it for the first 3 turns. Right, most of the time. So this is actually, it's good. But if you draw in that mid to late game, it's probably not great. Right, because you have to sink a lot of mana just for a 3/3. I'm trying to compare this to a Delver of Secrets, right? Delver of Secrets, you know, it's not bad. The ward 2 on this makes it good, right? If this didn't have ward 2, this would be trash. But the fact is, it has ward 2, helps it survive. Because most of the time you play Delver, right? You flip it and your opponent's like, yeah, cut down. And you're like, oh, okay. Or yeah, or go for the throat. Well, for them to go for the throat this, they're going to have to pay 4 mana. And you're paying a lot of mana to kill a 1-drop. So cut down doesn't deal with this either. Just to point out, actually thinking about that. Cut down doesn't deal with this. This is good. If fairies are that push, I mean, would I play this in mono blue tempo? Potentially, because you think about it, mono blue tempo, you keep up a lot of counter magic, right? You drop this down turn 1, you hold up your Essence Scourge, you hold up your Negates and your Spell Pierces and whatever. If you don't do anything, you go, cool, remove stun counter. Cool, remove stun counter. This is strong. We're seeing really strong rares. Really good. Charming Scoundrel up next. 2 mana, 1/1 with haste. When it enters the battlefield, choose 1. Discard a card, then draw a card. Create a treasure token. And create a Wicked Roll token attached to target creature you control. This reminds me of the Charmed Prince a while back, which was a 2 mana 2/2, not 1/1. This does have haste. Okay. This is probably weaker. I mean, the most common one of this is make a treasure, right? You have some form of ramp and it's an artifact in a deck, okay? That's probably the most common reason why you would play this card. It is a 2 mana 1 with haste that makes a treasure token. That's probably the main reason. You get the kind of like, okay, it's not a kind of looting, but you get some sort of card advantage. It's okay. And the Wicked Roll token's probably not very good. Unless you're in an aggro deck, probably not really worth it. So overall, this will probably see play. You know, you can play this in mono reds. I think this will actually be pretty decent in mono reds, even if you just create the treasure or the Wicked Roll token. But apart from that, I do think Charm Prince is better. Obviously, Charm Prince is white, not red, and that didn't really see much play. So this will probably see play, to be fair, in an aggro list. We'll have to wait and see. Right, next we have Bramble Familiar. So 2 mana, 2/2, Elemental Raccoon. So it's tap for 1 green, or you can pay to discard a card, return it to your hand. So basically we got like a mana guy coming in. Okay, not the greatest. And then we got 7 mana, sorcery, mill 7 cards, and then put a creature, enchantment, land from among them onto the battlefield. So this is actually not bad, to be fair. I think just if it didn't have the adventure side, it would be 2 mana accelerant. But this ain't bad. You know, it has some good use in that mid-late game. The downside you have with mana accelerants is obviously they're great in the early game, but if you top deck them, they're terrible, right? If you top deck this in the late game, you can pay the 7 mana. It is a lot, but you are playing green. So you're paying 7 mana to mill 7 cards. Then you get to pick, basically, hopefully it's a creature, right? You get to pick essentially a creature in those 7 cards to put into play. Now, you want them to be a big fae. You know, you want it to be one of the big creatures in your deck. It doesn't have to be a green creature. It can be any creature if you really wanted to. I mean, hell, you can even have an Atraxa. You know, slam that into play. There you go. Natali, whatever it may be. So, not bad, actually. Not bad. You know, on the surface, I was like, it's kind of weak. But you can return it to your hand. So, if you really want to, that mid to late game, that's what makes it even better. You can pay 2. In that mid to late game, you can pay 2, you can discard a card, and you can return to your hand to then cast the adventure. So this actually has some really good late game benefits. Right, next up we have the Archon of the Wild Rose, 4 mana, 2 colors, 2 white, 4/4 flyer. Other creatures you control that are enchanted by auras you control have base power and toughness 4/4 and have flying. That's actually pretty strong. So on the surface, 4 mana, 4/4 flyer, pretty decent stats. But then if you have enchantment, now we've already seen a lot of auras flying around in this set, and we already have the green white aura list in standard already. This is pretty good. You imagine you have your naturalist, right? Slam an Audacy onto it, have this in play, all of a sudden it's now a 4/4 flyer with the enchantment on it as well, with the aura on it. What's it now? It's like 6/4 flying trample, lifelink. Ooh, baby, that's actually pretty scary. So yeah, this will see a home, I think, in the green white auras list. I would play this. This is a good, just on its own, it's good. And you have a ton of auras already, and you'll be getting some more coming. This could see some play in green white auras. Then we have a Tale for the Ages, 2 mana enchantment, enchanted creatures you control get +2/+2. Well, there you go. There's another card that could go in the auras list. I mean, it's kind of a win more, but still pretty good. I like this. You wouldn't play a full 4. But I would play maybe a couple of them. But I do think this, for 2 mana, that's actually a pretty decent enchantment. The fact that you get to, you know, really buff up all of your stuff, especially with all these different rolls flying around, these different auras. I do feel like that's actually pretty decent. Devouring Sugarmaw. What a name. So we got a 4 mana 6/6, Trample and Menace. Pretty decent stats, actually. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may sacrifice an artifact, enchantment, or token. If you don't, tap the Devouring Sugarmaw. Okay, and it's got 2 mana instant, make a 1/1 human and a food token. That's not bad. So this kind of reminds me of Lovestruck Beast, right? When we had Lovestruck Beast, you know, it was 3 mana, it was 1 mana to make a 1/1, but there was a 5/5 for 3 that couldn't attack. I think it could block, but it couldn't attack unless you had a 1/1. Right, you had to have a 1/1. This one requires you to sack, but this makes 2 tokens. You get a food, and you get a 1/1. And if you're going to be making a bunch of tokens, you imagine you got things like wedding announcements, even you got more copies of the Sugarmaw. 6/6 Menace Trample is a big body. You are punching through that damage. This could see some play. You know, does rely on you having a bunch of stuff to sack, but this does seem pretty good. Okay, Godric Cloaked Reveler. So 3 mana, 3/3 with haste. That's pretty good stats already. As long as 2 or more non-land permanents enter the battlefield under your control this turn, he is a dragon with base power 4/4 flying and pay 1 red. Dragons you control get +1/+0. Right, so you get 3 mana, 3/3 haste, which is pretty good already. So you can play this in a mono red deck. But then if another non-land permanent came in that turn, let's say, he then is a 4/4 flyer dragon, right? So let's say on turn 4, you play this and you play a 1-drop, right? You play, I don't know, Monetary Swift Spear or whatever. He's coming in for a lot of damage, right? But then even if you just play him as a 3 mana guy, right? Get in, play 3 on turn 3, you attack him for 3, cool. Let's say you play the Invasion of Tarkir on turn 2, kill something, shoot them, whatever. You play this guy, he comes in, he hits it for 3, pretty cool. And then next turn, let's say you flip it, and then you play something else, or whatever it may be. He then transforms as a dragon, your dragon's going everywhere. This is going to see play. Yeah, I would definitely jam him straight into a mono red deck. Okay, then we have the Heartflame Duelist. So 2 mana, 3/1. Instant sorcery spells you control have lifelink. And then you can pay 3 mana instant, deal 3 damage to any target. Yeah, this is pretty strong. Like, this is actually pretty good. So, let's say you played, I don't know, red-white burn, right? Instead of mono red, you play red-white. and instant sorcery spells you control have lifelink. That's pretty useful, right? That's pretty useful. But then the fact is it also basically is like a lightning strike. It is 3 mana. Pretty good. You know, turn 3, you kill something, you can play this as a 3-1. Your instant sorcery spells start gaining lifelink. I think this will see some play. Not too sure what type of deck it would go in. It will see some play. I mean, it could see play in other formats as well. I don't know whether you would want to play this in Modern in a burn list, really. But this is still pretty good nonetheless. Kind of giving that Lightning Helix type effect, but not quite Lightning Helix. So, but yeah, seems pretty strong. And then we have Hilda's Crown of Winter. 3 colorless legendary artifact. You can pay 1 colorless, tap target creature. This ability costs 1 less to activate during your turn. Okay, and then we have pay 3, sacrifice Hilda's Crown, and you get to draw a card for each tapped creature your opponents control. So, we basically have like an Icy Manipulator. Then you have Hilda to go with this, I guess. So, Hilda is basically whenever you tap one of your opponent's creatures, you get a benefit. Most of the time, you're probably going to make a 4-4 because it's incredibly strong. Let's say you have this in play. This will work quite well. You know, you get to tap something, you know, on your turn, and you have her in play, you make a 4-4, you do well, or other abilities. But if you don't, you can do it in their turn for 1 mana. That's not too bad. But then you could pay 3 and then you can draw, hopefully, a bunch of cards. Potential. It has potential. I don't think it's going to be that great, to be fair. I don't think you have to play Hilda. If you don't play Hilda in this, you know, with a deck with this, it's just not worth it. So probably going to be in a blue-white list. Would I play in a control list? Probably not. Would I play this in a, you know, aggro list? Probably not. So I don't really know where it's going to find a home, but it's still pretty cool. Then we have Imodain the Pyro Hammer. So another red card, 4 mana this time, for a 4/4 human knight, and it has whenever an instant sorcery spell you control that targets only a single creature, deals damage to that creature, Imodain deals that much damage to each opponent. So you lightning strike their guy, shoot them for 3. Okay. Nahiri's Warcraft in their guy for their children for 5, shoot them for 5. That's not too bad. Kind of weak. On its own, it doesn't do anything. It's just a 4 mana 4/4. So, would you play in a mono red list? Probably not. Would you play in a big red list? Possibly. But it still feels kind of weak to me. Yeah, it doesn't seem that strong. You know, Nahiri's Warcraft is probably your best bet, to be fair. The most common way to deal a good amount of damage. Not great. So this time around we saw some amazing rares. I mean, absolutely fantastic. Really strong, playable, standard rares. You know, we have that Knight, the green-black one, that can basically get good card advantage when it dies, which is incredibly powerful. That 1-drop Fairy, it getting around cut down is very strong. It getting around, you know, costing your opponent a ton of mana in the early game to remove it. Yes, it doesn't attack or block, but it is a very good creature, and I can see it seeing a home, potentially in a Fairies list. I think it will see home, in fact, in the tempo list, mono blue tempo list. Then we have the Otter. Can't forget the Otter. That's a very strong card as well. We definitely saw some strong cards in this video today from the spoilers, and to be fair, it's making me excited. I like to see some good, strong playable cards in standard, in new sets, and this has definitely bringing my hopes a little bit. I was a bit disappointed with yesterday's spoilers, but today I'm really looking forward to playing some spicy brews with these brand new cards. If you made this far into the video, guys, and you've enjoyed it, make sure to smash that like button and make sure to hit that subscribe button for more Magic content, and let me know down in the comments what is your favorite card shown from today, or just the set in general. Like I say, there's some really strong, powerful cards shown today. Super excited. I can't wait to build some decks with these. That is it for today's spoilers, guys. Make sure to tune in for tomorrow for even more Wilds of Eldraine spoilers, and then we're going to be building some decks. So definitely make sure to subscribe for that. But that is it from me in this video, guys, today. Thank you all so much for watching. See you in the next one.